Hello and welcome to a very special video. I thought I'd end the week with a full review of every single new release for the Adeptus Custodes. Grab yourself a cup of tea in your favourite Custodes mug and a nice big bit of cake. You deserve it. It's the end of the week. The jet bikes will be joining us. They're currently drying somewhere at the moment, and I will introduce them into the video shortly. So this is my full review of all of the miniatures that Games Workshop have released for this Adeptus Custodes release. I'm not going to include Forge World. I do have some things from Forge World coming that are Custodian Guard related, and I will be covering those along with my full Custodian Guard army update so far. It's definitely grown a fair bit, probably doubled in size thanks to this release, because if you've seen the recent Contemptor Dreadnought review and another Allarus tank review, you'll have probably realised I now have 4 Custodian Guard Dreadnoughts and almost 100 Custodian Guard, and now 9 jet bikes. So the force is definitely growing. I never wanted it to grow at all. Always wanted it to be a small little add-on army. I never wanted it to be a main army, but that's just the way it happens. However, if you just want to start a small army and you just want a few squads and maybe a dreadnought or a tank, this is definitely one of the best armies to do that. You've almost got an army with one 35-pound box now, now that they've changed the unit size down to 3, and you can make a shield captain and a Vexillus Praetor in one box set. Now you can do that with the Warden box set, which is directly in front of you above the Allarus there. You can also do that with the normal Custodian Guard set. To do that fully with the Vertus Praetors, you know, the jet bikes, and the Allarus Terminators, you're going to have to buy 2 sets of them, and that's because you only get 3 models in each set. So if you were to say that one of those out of the 3 is a shield captain, then you're left with 2 there, which isn't enough to make a full squad. So that's why you'd need 2 boxes. But they're all priced at £35, so there's not much to remember there. Captain General Trajann Valoris is £22.50. They could have easily sold him at £25 because of the Custodes tax, I want to call it. But no, they've kept him at the same price as a Primaris chaplain or apothecary or captain, so that was great. I think that was a good decision. The Custodian Guard were introduced in November of 2016, but they were properly introduced a couple of months later with 40k rules that were online, and then I think May-June time last year they got their Talons of the Emperor box set, which included this, the 7th edition Codex. The 8th edition Codex is in the background there. It's under 100 pages, which is disappointing. Would have much rather it been 100. However, the whole release, in my opinion, is much more fleshed out than this kind of half-hearted attempt. It's great that they brought this out with the Talons of the Emperor box set, but it would have been nice if they had this and the Sisters of Silence mini codex in one book that was 60 or 70 pages for 7th edition, but I guess they just ran out of time last year. To give credit where credit's due, Games Workshop have been working overtime with both the release schedule and all the codexes. It's completely unheard of. I've never seen anything like it from them, and I've been in the hobby for well over 20 years now. Going back to this 7th edition release, we just had the Custodian Guard squad, which consisted of 5 of them base, and you could have an additional 5 to have 10. Venerable Dreadnought, again, just the normal plastic Dreadnought, and again the Land Raider. So you had 3 units there, which was pretty poor, you know, very lackluster. And this new Adeptus Custodes Codex does improve on their army, them as a separate army, battle-forged army, greatly. It moves them forward leaps and bounds, if not completely fleshes them out. The fluff and the backstory and the timeline and all of the unit descriptions are amazing in the Codex, but they are still lacking. They have 1 troop choice, they have 1 fast attack choice, 1 heavy support choice, and they're lacking in delivery methods and long-ranged weaponry, anti-tank weaponry. However, that's part and parcel of this army. They're a very specialised elite army, and their units reflect that. It's excellent that Games Workshop are releasing these beta rules where we can bring in our Forge World models. So you'll get models like something like this turning up. You know, the Caladius Grav Tank rules are out there at the moment. So that's great. The Coronis is coming to them as well. The fact that you don't have to use your normal Custodian Guard Dreadnought with the Multi-Melter or Keras Pattern Assault Cannon, in that you can use the one with the spear. Hopefully you can use the one with the shield as well. And maybe one day we can have the Telemon Dreadnought in there too. Obviously a lot of the units that make it from Horus Heresy do come over and they are a little bit neutered, and the Sicaran tanks are a prime example of that. Okay, so jet bikes have now turned up. So as I was saying, there's great scope and opportunity here for Games Workshop to pull in models from a completely different game system and universe in a way from 30k, but they've done that before. They did that years ago with Space Marine tanks, bringing the Baneblade over, bringing the Fellblade over, bringing the Leviathan Dreadnoughts over, things like that. So it's not unheard of, but I've seen the question asked when Forge World bring out new models, can I use it in 40k? Already by doing this, Games Workshop are already, I want to say creating uncertainty. It's sort of a form of uncertainty anyway, of, hey, there's a model coming out for this army, can I use it for both universes? And Games Workshop and Forge World, they both need to be very, very clear which game system these models will be available for. So yeah, great news that we can have Forge World Custodes models in our 40k games coming soon. So let me break down the models themselves. So I think we started off with the Custodian Guard Codex, which is such a huge improvement. Hardback, yes, unfortunately it's £25. It should have really been 20, but that's a very good codex. It fleshes out a lot of the units, but it is lackluster in obviously the fast attack, the heavy support, and the troops choices. But I'm pleased that Games Workshop are rectifying that with the beta rules for the Forge World models, because that gives you another heavy support, a couple more elites, and another fast attack. So that's great. And we also had the release of Captain General Trajann Valoris. He's right here. Lovely looking model, sprayed in gold already. Looking to colour that cloak purple on the inside, or dark red on the inside, and red on the outside. Look, you've got Mephiston red plumage. There is no plumage really on there. There's just, you know, his coat. But there you go. Really nice model. I think it's fine to be that price. He's very tall too. You know, he is a bit taller than a normal Allarus Terminator, so he's definitely going to stand out. And a good centerpiece. Got some great rules in the Codex for him too, with his axe and his moment shackle. I don't know why you wouldn't pick him, really. Yes, he's pricey, but the whole army's pricey, isn't it? Then we had the Allarus Custodians, the Terminators. I think they're trying to be Death Shroud Terminators. I really do. You know, there's 3 Terminators, but I don't think they are. In my opinion, I think the set could have worked with 5. They're not much bigger than normal Blightlord Terminators. In fact, Blightlord are pretty much almost the same size. Death Shroud are bigger than these, but maybe they're just playing on the kind of specialised sort of elite view of the army, but I really do think that they would have been better off in a squad of 5, or at least a box of 5. Maybe for £40, I think that would have been all right. But I think they're trying to be a bit like Forge World there. But Forge World, you got to compare them. Forge World, £49 for 3. So you're talking almost £50 for 3 models. They were the Allarus Custodians. Nice rules. I like how they can teleport, and the ballistic grenade launcher on their left hand is amazing. And then we have the Wardens over here on the right. Really decent models. I prefer the look of these to the Custodian Guard, but I prefer the Custodian Guard as models. That's because these Wardens are very, very monopose. I've actually cut the plugs off of some of my arms, but even with the plugs off, you can start to see some similarities between them. I like that you get 5 in there. I like that you can have one as a shield captain and a Vixilis Praetor, but model-wise, I just prefer the flexibility of the normal Custodian Guard. Although I've done the review of the normal Custodian Guard box, I thought I might as well just do another unboxing of that set, because it's been about a year or so since they came out, so stay tuned to the channel for that one. I do like their slightly better stat line, the Wardens, than the Custodian Guard. I like how they have access to the Castellan axes, and they're your go-to against, you know, Terminators or heavily armoured units. The Allarus you don't have to worry about transport. The Vertus Praetors you don't need to, but these Wardens, you really should be putting them in a Land Raider or a Coronis or something like that. And then that leads me to these that have just appeared, the Vertus Praetors. What a lovely looking model. They are fantastic. I thought that they were a bit stocky, a bit short, but they've worked out really well. I think the Custodian Guard is still quite big on them, especially when you compare them to the sort of year-old now Agamatus jet bikes that Forge World do. Much prefer the Agamatus jet bikes, I'll tell you right now. One of the main reasons is because obviously their length, but also the weapon that they have in the middle, the Corvus Las Pulsar or the Adrathic Destructor, is just incredible weapons, way better than sort of like a little one-shot melter missile or a hurricane bolter. I don't know what Games Workshop were thinking with these weapons, but to me the weapons just seem very lackluster compared to the ballistic grenade launcher. But there you go, you know, they're still fantastic looking models and still going to be great zipping around the battlefield at the 14-inch range, firing off those missiles, and also taking down troops with the hurricane bolters too. So there you go. I think we've come a decent way from a year and almost a year and a half ago from the normal Custodian Guard. It's been a nice progression. Yes, I would have liked to have seen a few more units in the Adeptus Custodes book, but I like that Games Workshop are addressing that with the beta rules to flesh out your army if you've already got a fair few of those models. And if you haven't, it gives you a good excuse to go and get a couple and use them in your Custodian Guard army. Because they're such a small sort of elite force, many people will have probably built their couple of packs and painted them and everything already. My favourite model in this release, I have to give it to the bikes, I have to give it to the Vertus Praetors. £35 does seem like a fair amount, but in a way they're about £10 or so each, which works out about right if you compare them to sort of Space Marine bikers and things. You know, £10 for one of these compared to sort of £25 for your main shield captain or whatever. I think that works out well. Even though they are stubbier, shorter versions of the Agamatus, I definitely think that they are the best step forward in this range, both rules wise, flexibility wise, and progression for model wise. The Allarus Custodians are okay, and I do like how they can teleport in, but they just don't do it for me. The fact that they're in this big Terminator armour, and Custodian Guard armour is just that good that they already get the 2+ save and the invulnerable saves. Would have been nicer if the Allarus had a better invulnerable save to boot maybe. Additionally, just set them apart a little bit. And the Wardens, although they are lovely with their robes, the kit is a bit less flexible than the normal Custodian Guard set, and the stats are only a little bit better. But anyway, I'll leave it in your hands. Were you able to get all of the models in this new release? If so, which was your favourite? Have you built them all? Have you painted them all? Have you used them in a game? Please do give me all your feedback down below. It'd be great to hear from you. As a little bit of a news update for the channel, there are still a few more Custodes videos to come, just to finish off. I'm going to try and keep a daily video running for as long as I can. I've been doing this since October last year. I think I've had 1 week off, but after the final Custodes videos, you'll start to see content and videos that I made you know, a couple of months ago, which includes more Death Guard, there's more Tyrannid videos to come, and a fair few Space Marine videos. The only videos on Tau that I'm going to be doing for their release is just the pre-order videos. I don't collect Tau, and I don't really know an awful lot about them, so you'll see the content gradually move away from these guys now onto other things. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. The Emperor Protects.